Hello, my name is Robbie. I go by the pronouns he, him, and we are here on a early Sunday morning to play another session of Sorcerer. And in this game of Sorcerer, it is set in Central Florida. We have the idea that demons are social media junkies, and for our location, we've just chosen the most magical place on earth, Orlando's theme park empires, which may or may not actually involve being on a theme park property. And we have this idea that sorcery in this game involves some type of algorithmic alchemy, that there's something going on over the internet involving algorithms pertaining to the internet, to social media, that is allowing the sorcerers to tap into it and acquire some type of power to contact, summon demons to help them with their to help them achieve their goals. And we also have this idea that humanity in this game involves identity and empathy. So within Sorcerer, the statistic of humanity is tracked, and the sense in our game is that as you lose your humanity, that involves a loss of identity and or empathy. And I'm going to just work left to right across my screen and have the other players introduce themselves, introduce their characters, and give us a quick little synopsis of what has been happening with this character since the game started. And we'll start with Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny, she, her, and I play Dylan Walsh, an aspiring musician who summoned a demon to, well, help him with his career. And it wants creative control, so recently there have been some conflicts involving hurting a band member, and things are tense between them.
Okay. And Walter?
Hi, I'm Walter, he, him, and I am playing Sean. And Sean is a pretty clean-cut kid from Orlando, well, at least living in Orlando now, who found a sense of identity and purpose by joining a cult, which is named the Eighth Laurel. We don't actually know, we haven't established much about what exactly this cult's beliefs are, but we have established that they're not like directly related seemingly to any of the demonology, but Sean does have a mentor, is apprenticed to a woman named Diana, who is also a member of this cult, and who helped Sean to summon his demon. His demon is a possessor demon who can jump from person to person. We haven't seen that yet, but the first person that the demon has possessed is named Aaron, who was another member of the cult originally, who Sean knew before this person was possessed and had their own soul pushed out to make room for Aaron's demon. So that's interesting. Now, the most interesting thing that's happened is that Sean always had kept this blog about the cult and how great it was. And the demon has really helped to make that much more high profile. And so lately, that's one of the things that Sean is dealing with is this sudden surge in popularity and how he's become sort of the public face of the cult very recently.
Okay, and I think maybe what we'll start with, so we are currently, it's a Friday night. We are at a building where the lower part of the building is a kind of nightclub, bar, establishment called The Smell. And it's a Friday night, and Dylan's band, which I believe is called the Fisher Kings. Is that correct? This is one of the places that this punk band that Dylan belongs to has played at before, and they are the headline band tonight, and they've been playing, and it's a Friday night, so the crowd is getting gradually larger as the evening progresses. And Sean has an apartment in the same building, and it's an upstairs apartment. And I think we're going to start with Sean this evening. A lot of times in the evening, you are doing some work with your blog, with the social media of the cult, because you have a normal day job, which is working at Universal World. This evening, you had mentioned earlier that you are aware of the internet trolls out there. And this evening, you become aware of somebody who just goes by the name The Revealer. And The Revealer has a site called Cults Exposed. And The Revealer has been pumping out some social media, and on The Revealer's website, Cults Exposed, The Revealer has been targeting the Eighth Laurel in particular. It seems to be partly precipitated by the fact that your efforts have garnered more attention to this cult. And The Revealer, you don't know exactly who this person is, where this person is based, but they are putting out, inflammatory types of tweets regarding the Eighth Laurel. And when you go to the website, you can kind of see there on the front page, a few articles that are now appearing about the Eighth Laurel, that this is not a harmless organization, but that this organization is in fact a cult, and that people should be alerted to this. And Sean, is Aaron there with you? Would he typically be with you on a Friday evening when you're doing?
I think he often is, but I wouldn't say always. I think for this particular evening we could go either way. I think Aaron's always around. Like, I think there's always that private messaging window open between me and Aaron, and there's always texting. So, and I probably, like, even if Aaron's not around, I'll forward a copy of my recent post over to Aaron to take a look at and get comments on before I actually post it, that kind of thing.
Okay. So we could then say that Aaron has been in contact with you this evening. He's not immediately there, but you certainly are kind of have been in communication with each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very much. Aaron is very present in my life, even if he's not physically around.
Yeah, and we can also say that The Revealer has sent you some email messages personally, and they're not physically threatening, but they are certainly threatening to the Eighth Laurel, right? That The Revealer says, you are basically the subject of my crusade right now. And I know that your blog has taken off, that you have people who think it's funny to go around spouting off oaths of the Eighth Laurel in short videos and putting those up on, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, what have you. but that he knows the dangers that are involved, and he is intending to make sure that people are alerted to what your organization is about.
Okay. I mean, all right. So right now I'm thinking that's kind of interesting, and that this person's totally misguided. First of all, I mean, anything this person is saying, you know, is like, you know, just they're just repeating the same nonsense that they say about every organization. But he doesn't know about the eighth laurel and how, like, this is actually the way, right? I mean, the eighth laurel has figured out the way, and this person just doesn't see that. So, you know, not everyone can be helped.
Okay, so are you gonna?
I'm kind of blowing them off at this point. I think, you know, I think I'll send, you know, an email back, and, you know, just be kind of flippant, like, oh, you know, you know, your negativity is really not appreciated. Like, you know, don't be such a troll.
Okay, so you have a little response back, but you're not going to push this farther than simply, you know.
I'm kind of brushing him off. I'm like, I know the eighth laurel has the answer, right? And I'm feeling kind of hype. I'm starting to feel a little bit like, you know, like, hey, maybe I've got the touch here, right? Like, you know, I did that TV interview. It went really well. People are actually reciting the eighth laurel oath and putting up these videos with it. You know, it's going really viral. I mean, clearly, all of the work that I put into being a social media, you know, aficionado has paid off, right? So I'm really starting to feel like, yeah, this is. And I think deep down, I kind of know that Aaron's really responsible for me having this success, but I really want to believe that it's just me and I could have done it with Aaron, even though deep down I know that it's, you know, it's not an accident that this really took off once Aaron, you know, started helping me with it.
Okay, so about like 20 minutes after you send out this message, kind of blowing off the revealer. The revealer does respond back, and the revealer's message, and it's an email message to you, but you provide, I would assume on your blog you would have some kind of contact email, right? That they could send messages to.
Yeah.
So it's to that email address. The revealer writes back and says, the response, your response was what I expected, but I'm more aware of things than you may think. And I know about your relationship with Diana, and I know what that involves. And, you know, you may put on this front that this is all fun and games. But I know that there are deeper levels and layers to what's going on with the eighth laurel.
Wow. Interesting. So I'm in a little bit of a worried about this then. All right, he got me with that one. I think I'm not going to respond right away, but I'm going to I'm gonna try and contact both Diana and Aaron and just be like, hey, this person is like seems to know a lot of personal details about us, you know, and for some reason decided to bring Diana up in a, you know, in an email to me, like, what's that about? Hey, Diana, have you run into this person before? Should I be worried about something?
Okay. And I would say the first person you get a response from would be Aaron. I mean, which would be typical, right? Because Diana is off doing, but you and Aaron are, you know, in a much kind of closer, you know, day-to-day relationship. Diana has a real life, yes. But, you know, so Aaron, you know, Aaron responds back and says, I think we should go after this guy, whoever it is. That's kind of Aaron's desire.
Interesting. Okay, what does that look like? I mean, I kind of write that back to Aaron. I'm like, are you saying we should attack him on the internet and discredit him?
Yeah, I think Aaron says maybe ... right?
Huh.
And I'll let you think about that for a second, and maybe we'll go and see what's happening with Dylan downstairs. So Dylan, you're the Fisher Kings are in their second set, but between the first and the second set, there was a discussion that you had with Jonathan and with Belle. There's, Belle does not like Jonathan and doesn't like this idea that Jonathan is going to, rejoin the band whenever he's well enough to kind of, play with the band. But you kind of, I mean, you settled that a little bit during the first intermission, and then you go back up and you're playing your second set, and during the second set, the crowd is getting much bigger. There's a mosh pit that has started up, and that has been kind of growing in size, and also not just growing in size, but the mosh pit is also getting kind of more and more kind of crazy and boisterous as the evening goes along. I would say you've played a number of songs, and towards the second half of this set, you see Jonathan get up and he waves at you. You're in the middle of playing, so he waves at you, and he makes his way to the exit door. And there seems to be a friend with him, somebody that you don't recognize, but somebody who seems to know him, another guy who kind of goes out with him. And you also can notice Belle. She's been clearly visible. Like a minute after they leave, you see Belle also making an exit. So, Dylan, what do you do?
We're right in the middle of a song.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a song right now.
So, I think if I have enough time, if I'm like hitting at the end of a line, I'm going to try to use, I think I can use Link to summon Belle.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably not going to listen, and I know that. But I think I can at least like ping her, I guess, like, hey.
Yeah, well, yeah, this if you're pinging her, this would involve a roll. So you may be able to kind of force this on her, but I think she does want to resist it. So the way this will work, let me get your demons. It's going to end up being a will versus will roll.
Okay.
I guess if you wanted in Sorcerer, you can earn one or two bonus dice depending on how you spin this. So, like when you establish the link with Belle, I mean, what is the specific type of? I know what your command is. Is that I'm assuming you want Belle to stay,
yes,
in the smell. But what is your particular appeal that you're trying to make?
I think I'm pretty pissed at this point, so just like get the fuck back in here.
Okay. Yeah, let's do I gotta pull up my roll for the party. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna make my way to this. Open that up. Okay, so Dylan has a pretty strong will, which is good. So you have a 7 will, and Belle has a 8 will, but you also get your okay, there is going to be a modifier, which is the binding strength that will figure into it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see on here. So E. Okay, so and you get one on the binding strength. So I think that the way the way that we'll figure this is that gives you a bonus dice or a bonus die.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of rolling 7 will, you'll get to roll 8.
Yes.
8 dice. Okay, so you have those, and then Corybantos also gets 8. I'll roll those a different color, and we'll match. Oh, so Corybantos rolled a 10, which beats your 8.
Okay.
So it was close. And I would say that what happens is, Corybantos gets right to that entrance where she can still see you. And, you're trying to ping her to get her to stay. And, you can see her hesitating there. But then you see her kind of sneering at you, and she makes her way out of the exit.
Okay, any kind of assuming good intent has just gone to the wayside. So we are actually in the middle of a set.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a set. I would say, you're about, less than a minute from when you think this particular song would end up. And it is the middle of a set. I mean, you could break it off after this song, but everybody would be like a little, confused as to, because the mosh pit is going on, and you would think that they would be expecting a few more songs before you took another break.
Okay, this is bad. I summoned a demon to help with my career, not to deal with this bullshit. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to cut the song short and trust my band members, except Scott, who's a jerk, to like kind of catch it up with me. So I'm gonna just go right to the ending.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna like just look at them and be like, "Hey, I gotta bail," and then head out.
Okay, so I think you've been together with the band enough, and when you're playing with the band, they're able to follow along with you, so they'll be able to kind of pull this off. It'd be a little awkward. But then before you leave, the band members are like, well, Dylan, what's going on? Why? It's hot right now. Come on, we gotta keep this going.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just feeling kind of sick right now, like nausea. You guys just finish this without me. All the while I'm just like looking like I gotta go.
Okay, so what is the band gonna do? The band will, they look confused, but that they're gonna try to pull something together, and there are other band members that will sing, right? You're the kind of lead singer for them, but they've done backups, and there's occasional songs, like they'll go to songs where other people kind of take over the lead vocal part, and so they kind of get going again. The crowd, you notice, is a little confused as well, right? And you hear some people shouting your name, saying, Dylan, what's wrong? Come on, the party's just getting hot, right? But if you want to leave, nobody's going to stop you from leaving. You know, you have the shouts of them, you know, wishing that you would, you know, continue on with the set.
Yeah, I try to play it off as like, oh, I'm just like being casual and cool, and then like give a very quick intro for my new singer, and then I head off, and as I make it through the crowd, I take off at a run.
Okay. So you get outside, and you don't see Jonathan and his friend, but you can see down the block, you can see Belle, and you get a kind of glance at her, and then she turns the corner, and right, you can't see her, but you've seen where she's gone.
So I'm gonna like keep going after her.
Okay. So you run up to that. You run up to that corner. When you get to that corner, you can see Belle. I mean, you're running, so you're able to catch up because the rest of them are walking, and you see Belle, and you can see further down the street now. You can see Jonathan and his friend walking off.
And she is definitely watching them.
Oh yeah, yeah, and she's walking in a way where she clearly does not want to be noticed by them.
So I'm gonna like, as soon as I get close, I'm just gonna reach out and like grab her.
Okay.
What the fuck, Belle?
And Belle kind of turns and sneers at you and says, "This Jonathan is bad news, and I know it, and he's not coming back to the band."
So I stare at her and I'm just like, you keep saying that over and over, but you know, you've never given a reason why that's true. And now, what the fuck were you planning to do to them?
And Belle says, "Watch." And then she turns, and they still haven't noticed. Okay, it's dark, it's evening. She was trying to be quiet, and you know there are noises, or you know city noises in this area, and so Belle is going to try to use one of her special powers, which is her special damage. Did we make clear like what the injury was that I'm sorry, that Jonathan, I mean, it's Jonathan, right? Yeah. What kind of injury he had sustained before?
Some kind of broken arm.
Okay. Yeah. And so I think I'm going to go on and roll for this. The special damage, and she can do this from a distance because you also have that as a power. And just reading the rules on this. Gains an attack which uses a special damage table. It's going to be using the non-lethal variety because you've specified that the demon has both a lethal and a non-lethal type of attack. This is going to be non-lethal, and it's going to use the special damage table. I'm trying to see what the rules, if it specifies what I should be rolling. It seems like it should be the demon's power. Does that make sense? It would be the demon's power that would be kind of so we'll do that. And let me just go on. I'm going to roll the 8 power dice. And Jenny, I'll let you roll for Jonathan. I'm going to just give him a kind of average defense, and he doesn't realize that this is coming after him at this point. So we're going to let him roll 4 dice as a defense. I'm just going to clear everything, and I'll roll the 8 dice for Belle. And then if you want to roll 4 dice for Jonathan. Ah, you did well. So his 10 wins out. And I would say, so this is a kind of sorceress power of the demons to do a special attack from a distance. And I think Jonathan is, walking down the street and is able to feel this, but it's not going to actually cause any damage. But you see him kind of get knocked off to the side. Bell has done this in a way so that he believes that this is coming from his companion. But you see, Jonathan, it does hurt, right? It hasn't, caused severe damage, but it's kind of aimed at that shoulder arm of his that is injured.
How does Corabantos look after it's failed?
Corabantos turns to you and says, "It would have worked if you hadn't broken my concentration." Corabantos seems to be kind of upset that right, this didn't work, and is now, some of that anger is being directed at you.
So I think I have her by the arm, so I'm just gonna start dragging her back to the club, or trying to, because
Okay.
she's really strong.
Yeah, and let's I think maybe it would make sense for us to do one more roll. I mean, she'll try to resist, but let's do one more roll to see whether she's able to resist or not. Okay, so this was again going to be 8 versus 8. And why don't we? I'm going to go in and just clear all the dice out, and go on and roll. There's so many dice that get rolled. Okay, so that's a good roll. And let me roll my red ones. Okay, so you win this one with the 10. My highest was a 9. So I would say that Corabantos is going to look at you and be reluctant, but she will go along with you. Yeah, go ahead.
I also realized I can't go back to the club because I told everyone I'm nauseous, and if I do, then she'll just wander off again. So I guess on the way to the club, I redirect to my car.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so you're gonna get into the car and leave the you're gonna leave the gig. Okay. Yeah. Are you gonna okay, so you get to the car. I'm just wondering, are you gonna call or message the band? You still hear the band kind of going at it. You're just gonna. I'm out here. Okay.
I got bigger problems, man.
Okay.
So I guess I opened the shotgun passenger seat for her, and then that sounds totally garbled. And then I kind of tell her to get in, And the idea is that I'll be driving because I don't trust her to drive.
Okay.
And then we'll just
Okay, and as you start to drive away, Corabantos is really upset now. And she's upset. I mean, you hear her kind of talking trash about Jonathan. And also Corabantos says, and what are you doing? You had the crowd in the palm of your hand. And you know what I like, Dylan? You know what I like? I always love it at these gigs where you're so successful. I love it when I get some love in front of the crowd. And that's not happening tonight, is it?
No, it's not. But you know who's to blame? You were the one who decided to go after Jonathan. You know how delicate playing on stages? You broke my concentration. What did you think I was going to do? Let you go after my friend? You might want to think about how you want to act if you want some of that love.
Yeah, Corabantos is seething and fuming, and Corabantos says, you know, this is probably one of the crappiest evenings I've ever had. Thanks a lot, Dylan. This will be remembered.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty crappy for me too.
All right, let's go back to Sean. So Sean, when we left you, we had Aaron in touch with you, and you know, Aaron sending you a message about maybe doing something with respect to the revealer.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, you know, I'm feeling like, all right, I don't want the revealer to feel like, you know, they know anything, like I think they know anything important. So I'm just gonna like basically blow off their email, right? And I'm just gonna be like, you know, I'm just gonna be like, you know, you're just trash, right? I'm like gonna be my response to them over email. But then I'm gonna start like digging in and maybe doing some like research, like trying to figure out, you know, I think I'm gonna start reading some of their other articles that they've written about other cults, try and figure out, okay, what is the revealer's style? How do they make their attacks? Is there something I can find out who this revealer is that I can use against them? Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, go on. I'm gonna go after them, and also, you know, like figure out what I need to do, possibly to defend against them. And you know, I'll start with social media. I'll just start with whatever they have up and whatever I can figure out about them.
Okay. When you're doing this, well, I guess, you know, Aaron will say, do you want me to come over, or are you okay?
You know, I think like this has got like my fire going. I can tell that I'm going to be up until 4 in the morning on the internet again tonight. So I'm like, yeah, come on over and give me a hand. You can keep me company.
Okay. So if that's the case, you know, Aaron will show up. It doesn't take him that long to get there, like 15 minutes or so. And, you know, Aaron shows up, knocks on the door, you know, and, you know, he'll say, you know, so what have you found out so far?
Good question. What have I found out? What has been revealed about the revealer just by making a first pass over the internet?
Yeah, I guess a quick pass. You know, we could say that this cult's exposed website has been up for a few years. It seems to be the identity of the revealer is not clear as to who really this person is, but you know, this, you know, the Eighth Laurel is definitely not the first cult that the revealer has gone after. that, various, Scientology. I would say it does seem a little bit more unusual, though, the kind of intense focus. I mean, otherwise, usually Cults Exposed kind of is kind of all over the place. I mean, it's like, one post will be about Scientology, and then the other one is about the Hare Krishnas, and, various and sundry groups that become its focus. This does seem to be a little bit more unusual that the Revealer seems to be like now producing a number of articles that are about the eighth laurel.
Okay. And do the articles about the eighth laurel seem like more in depth somehow, or are they just kind of like, do they seem on the surface like they're talking about the eighth laurel a lot, but they're kind of saying, they're like, does it seem like they're repeating the same thing they say about everybody?
Let's initially just do this would be a lore roll.
Okay.
And I mean, Aaron's going to show up, and Aaron could help out with this because he has his perception, right? That
yeah, which is like this extra sense thing,
right? So I'd say initially, before Aaron gets there, he's, it seems pretty normal stuff. But, when Aaron is there, if you want to kind of do something that would involve his perception, we could do that.
Yeah, it says under perception that it should be like kind of what the perception's about should be defined at the beginning. I don't remember if we have defined it yet. I feel like we used it for a roll once before, but I don't remember the details off the top of my head.
Yeah, and it still is a little unclear to me if that's like something that can ever change during the game, or if you define at the beginning, oh, it's only this type of perception and that's always what it is. But when we used this previously, it did involve kind of perception of things going on over the internet, right? It was when you were doing a kind of experimental social media blitz, seeing whether you could kind of lace some sorcery powers, some confusion and taint into some of your messages. And I think we did a roll initially just to kind of pick up on the ways of most effectively being able to kind of craft your messages to make them appealing to people and to make them most effective in terms of kind of being able to get some of the kind of demonic powers kind of charged into the messages. So, I mean, I think that what we could say is that, Aaron would show up, he would say, this is interesting. What have you found so far? I think maybe, working together, we could find out a little bit more about who exactly this person is. And so the perception would have to do with like picking up, some kind of knowledge of, both reading the messages that are coming out from the Revealer as to whether the Revealer really knows some type of secret knowledge that goes beyond simply a superficial knowledge of the eighth laurel and what you are up to, but also maybe involve being able to zero in more specifically on who this person is.
Yeah, that sounds good. Especially finding out who they are seems very valuable.
Okay.
I'm all about that. Sounds great.
So this is going to be your lore plus your demon's power that will get added to it. So that would be a total of 11.
Okay.
And I'm going to have this go up against the Revealer has a cover. And the Revealer clearly has been somebody who has some success in kind of covering who exactly he is. I mean, you can kind of see from the way that he does things is that he doesn't really want his identity to be revealed. So I'm going to give him
ironic.
Yes. I'm going to give him what is actually a fairly good cover, which is going to be a 6.
Okay.
So it'll be 11 on your side, and let's go in and clear all the dice out of this first.
All right.
Okay. And then if you want to roll 11 dice.
There they are. Oh, I only got a 9.
So yeah, he may
totally
be.
win. And then I got a 6, so it's not going to be a good success, and I might fail.
So he's going to roll 6.
Oh, yep, he wins.
Yeah, so he yeah, so I mean, I guess the two of you kind of work on this, and Aaron gets frustrated, right? I mean, Aaron is like, you know, I mean, he keeps coming across walls, right? I mean, he thinks that this is going to be a fairly easy job to kind of figure out who this is, but
yeah. I want it to look like something. What does it look like when Aaron is using this internet perception?
I think first of all, physically, he gets really, really close to the screen, right? I mean, he gets like just inches away from the screen, so it's almost like he wouldn't be able to read it, right? And I think you see him. You know, his fingers are poised over the keyboard. I think you do see him going to just, I mean, sometimes you're not even aware of exactly what he's going to. I mean, he has like websites or, places that he goes, and, sometimes you'll see his screen, and the screen in some of these places that he goes to, it seems to all be kind of encrypted stuff. That's like,
okay, like websites that I've never seen before,
right?
Or it's almost like there's like some kind of special code that he can like hack into in the internet that like go to like a regular site, but like some extra stuff comes up that most people will never see on it.
Correct. And yeah, sometimes it seems to be kind of like some kind of code language that gets involved. A lot of them do have like pictures and stuff like that are that will kind of flash up on the screen. While this is going on, eventually Diana does get in touch with you. A message comes through, and Diana says with her message, Sean, what's going on? I got your information that somebody seems to know something.
Yeah. I forwarded the email to her from the revealer. Like, yeah, do you know who this Joker is? They seem to be targeting us, and they brought you up. I just wondering if you know something about them already.
She responds back that she's aware of this website, that she monitors people who have been talking about the 8th Laurel, but that she never really thought that it was anything beyond that, that it was just like some other anti cult type person out there.
Yeah.
But she does say, it is disturbing that my name would get used in a message from this person.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm with Aaron. We're looking into it, but we haven't been able to find anything on this person. They seem to hide really well.
Yeah, and Diana would respond back, says, I'm glad that Aaron is there. I do think it would be worth keeping an eye on this person. And she says, I would advise ending communication with the revealer for now, until we have found more information about who this might be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's easy enough to do, especially after my last email where I basically was just like, you know, you're trash. Stop bothering me. I think
Okay.
I can even like you know, yeah. So okay.
Okay, so you're at this point not gonna. I mean, you'll continue to do your searches, but not have any further contact with this person.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll go back to Dylan. You are you going to your apartment now where you stay?
Yeah, I'm gonna just head back there and see if I can like try calming her down by like sending a tweet about how much I love her.
Okay.
I show her that tweet.
So she looks at the tweet and says, "Oh, you know, that's such a sweet thing, but you know, that seems so small, right? I mean, you know, a little tweet. You know, I could have been acknowledged in front of your adoring fans tonight, but now, you know, who knows what the fans are thinking about you? You know, you had this perfect opportunity to fulfill my need, and you let it all go to waste."
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know what the fans are gonna think about this, so maybe that's something you can work on.
You know, she's just kind of fuming there. You sent out that tweet, and you get a minute after that, you get a message, and this would be it's coming back through your Twitter account. It's not a tweet, but it's a message to you through your Twitter account. And the message says, Dylan, I was at the show tonight and you were amazing! Exclamation point, exclamation point. What happened? Question mark. Why did you leave the show? Question mark. I would like to talk to you about a potential music deal. And it's signed somebody named Lily Pappas. And at the end of it says, I'd like to talk to you about a potential music deal. I'd like to talk to you soon. Can we meet?
I think first I'm gonna like do some well, I show Belle first. And I kind of like flippantly say, "Oh yeah, I think it's all gonna work out." And after that, I'm going to start doing some research on this Lily Pappas person, like just some basic, are you a real person? Are you a creepy stalker?
Yeah, she is a real person, at least if it's coming from Lily Pappas. Lily Pappas is a you can find information that she's a kind of music producer type, and you know, somebody who's worked in the music field, and seems to have some artists who she has helped to, you know, record deals, or to get, you know, increase their notoriety. So I mean, she does seem legit.
Is it a Twitter verified account?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, I trust my social media overlords. So that's how I got into this mess. So I'm gonna write back and just be like really vague. I had something that I needed to take care of, but James carried the rest of the show really well, it sounds like. Thanks for your interest. I'd love to meet up. How about what time works for you?
You know, it's getting fairly late on a Friday night right now. So, but she says, I would like to meet with you very soon, and all caps, very soon. And she asks about the possibility of meeting late tomorrow morning, like around 11.
Oh yeah, I like instantly respond. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, and you know, she would name like she like a Starbucks, you know, in the area for your meeting site.
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm. And then if I can get some time alone when Belle is not like literally looking over my shoulder, I think I'm gonna like pretend to sulk and just head to my bedroom. I'm gonna go on some occult message board and
Mhm.
just be like, well, I have a friend who has a demon, and that demon's been acting out and really like trying to hurt people. What are some options for my friend? And I'm doing this all under a throwaway account.
Okay. Um, and you're, you know, I would say the when you put out a message like that, you get, you know, a few people responding with very, you know, varied advice as to what you should do, right? They start talking about, like, one guy talks about some demonic uh, spells that you could employ. You know, you get somebody who just says, "Oh, you've got to turn to the Lord," and right, has some kind of religious message that they present to you. You know, it just seems like, in some ways, it'd be like the kind of messages you would expect on, you know, one of these one of these sites.
So nothing looks like remotely legit.
Not that you could tell, right? It's just kind of like, you know, the kind of stuff that you would expect people would. You know, some people talk about, you know, Aleister Crowley, and they kind of throw these names of famous sorcerers and things like that. But it all seems to be kind of pop culture kind of references and things like that that they're giving you. Um, but we could fast forward if you want to. Let me just make sure, because I mean, we could fast forward to the 11 o'clock Starbucks meeting. But Walter, is there anything else you wanted Sean to do?
Break?
Yeah, not in particular tonight. I could use a little break too between
Okay.
scenes if we've got
Okay.
time.
Yeah, it sounds good. So let's take about 5 minutes or so, and we'll come back, and we'll see what's going on with Lily Pappas then.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Walter, I realized we needed to do one more short scene for the evening to follow up on something that Alejandro had set in motion last time.
Yeah. It's, you wanted to do the thing where Alejandro's brother comes up, maybe?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I was during the break. I said, "Oh yeah, we should definitely kind of figure out what the result of that would be."
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So why don't we do that, and then we'll, unless anybody else has something else to do, we'll then fast forward to the 11 o'clock morning meeting at Starbucks. So what we could say is that after you get done with that exchange with Diana, where Diana was basically expressing a little concern about the revealer, but then telling you, okay, let's continue to investigate and don't communicate anymore with whoever this person is. You hear a few minutes after that, you hear a knock at your door.
Okay. And it's like, what time is it? It's like 1 a.m. or something. Is it late?
Yeah,
or?
It's getting pretty late. Yeah, I would say around midnight or so that it's.
Okay. Yeah, I look at Aaron, and I'm outside of like people at the cult that I hang out with. Like I'm kind of and people at my job. Like I don't really get out much. So I'm like, who could that be? I guess I'll go take a look. And I'm imagining I have like a one of those chain things over my door, so I can open it a couple inches, and then the chain will like block the rest of the door, and I keep that on, and I just peek outside.
Okay.
So yeah, can I help you?
And so you see somebody there, and he does not look familiar to you, but he says, "Are you Sean? My name's Billy. I'm Chuck's brother. The bouncer downstairs. I'm his brother, and he sent me up here to show you something."
I maybe you have the wrong Sean. I don't work at the club. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and this guy out there, he looks a little nervous. He's kind of, you've seen Chuck, not that you hang out with him. You do see some physical resemblance to Chuck, though. You see similar features. And this guy who calls himself Billy, he pulls out a cell phone, and there's a picture on the screen, and he says, "We've been coming across these really strange pictures, and Chuck knows that you're kind of a computer person, and he thought that maybe you could look at these and figure out something about like what these pictures are and who might be sending them to us."
What is the picture of?
Okay, so the picture that's on there right now shows a woman sitting in a dining room at a table, and then there's this kind of blurred figure that's off to the side of the picture, and the picture looks like it's been taken through a window. So it's like through the window of a house into the dining room, and there's a woman who is like eating her lunch at the dining room table, and then there's this kind of smeared, blurry figure off to the side.
Okay.
And he'll kind of scroll through some other pictures, and what you see are pictures of other people kind of doing everyday type things, but you can definitely always pick up that there's this kind of curious smudged gray figure somewhere on the picture.
Okay. Is it excuse me, is it just random people, or it seemed to be like a similar group of people all the time?
Yeah, you see some of them that it's the same people. Like there's this older woman, and then there's an older man, and then there's a younger woman that appears in some of them. And it's kind of like sometimes it's around the same house, so you can kind of identify that, okay, some of these are front yard, back porch, different rooms inside the
So,
house.
having studied lore for a while, does this like smudged blur mean something to me? Or does it just look like weird out of focus photos?
At first glance, at least, when you're just kind of, as he's kind of, you know, scrolling through them, it looks just like kind of smudged photographs.
Okay. I kind of look at it and I'm like, I don't understand what you're telling me. So you want me to, is someone, I mean, what's wrong with these photographs?
Well, you know, these are photographs of my parents and my sister, and somebody seems to be kind of stalking them and stalking us. And I showed these to my brother, and he's seeing like a strange, like a chicken leg or something, that a chicken leg charm or something, that when he looks really close, he seems to be able to pick up that there's something strange going on with that figure. And he thought that maybe you could look at it and see what's going on with these.
I'm kind of busy right now. Can this like wait for another time?
Yeah, I don't know. I could go down and talk to Chuck about it, but we're really concerned. And he thought, you know, maybe that you wouldn't be busy and you could at least take a little closer look at them. Yeah, you can have the phone if you want to get and take a little closer peek at them.
Okay. I'll take a look for a moment. I mean, what would you like? Would you like me to like identify who's sending these to you, or some what kind of information are you asking for?
Yeah, well, there's like a strange, goofy Instagram account, you know, and you know, you can see that the name, it looks like just a random jumble of numbers and letters as the account name.
Okay.
But he says, like, I don't know who, we need to know who's taking these pictures and what they're up to.
I mean, okay, because they're threatening you basically. All right.
Or trying to scare us or something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think at this point, Sean becomes more interested. Sean's like, all right, well, you know, I can appreciate people feeling, you know, like threatened by trolls on whatever on the internet, and all right, I guess I can try and help these people out. Seems like a nice thing to do, right? Seems like, you know, just like family, and I think I've been talking to I think I was really doubtful at first. I'm like, who is this guy? And as I talk to him, I'm like, all right, like he seems to have a consistent story, so maybe he's not just bullshitting me. So I think I'm like, hold on a minute, and I close the door and I undo the chain and I open it up, and I'm like, come on in. And you know, there's like, I think I have like a couch and an old like CRT TV, like, you know, like a giant box, not a flat screen, and the couch is something that I picked up off the street. It's like, you know, a little bit dirty and it's got a little rip in it, and you know, but it's the couch I got.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, have a seat, and I think like kind of not far away, it's a small apartment, but just kind of like just behind the couch is the table where Aaron's at, and we're working on the computers together, and I'm like, hold on a minute, Aaron, I'm just gonna talk to. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
My name's Billy. I'm Chuck's brother. I mean, his younger brother.
Okay, yeah, good to meet you, Billy. Sure, let's take a look at this. Yeah, I sit down on the couch beside Billy and I start scrolling through the phone and see if I can like figure anything out. I mean, I don't know what to do. Maybe download some of the photos or try and contact you know, look up this account. I don't know. I suppose I could try and get Aaron involved. Try and use the perception thing as well.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, Aaron right now, and he's kind of listened a little bit to this, but he's like intent. He's in his fixation on the computer screen right now. But
all right, I think at first I'm not going to disturb Aaron. I'm gonna feel like, yeah, Aaron's doing something important right now. I'll just see what I can figure out here. And yeah, I'll just like look through the phone and see if something pops up. If I notice something, you know, like is there some certain kind of account that's being used, or I mean, I don't know that Sean is actually that sophisticated with the internet. I think
Yeah.
I think he thinks he's more sophisticated than he actually is. I think he's actually just like a not much more than an amateur blogger. I mean, he does spend his time flipping burgers at Universal World when he's not, you know, doing his blog post. He's not like a computer expert by any means.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Instagram account, it seems like that the only pictures on this one Instagram account are these types of pictures, and it's the same people, the same location, with this grade figure that's in all of them. You are able, when you look really carefully, like he had mentioned this kind of chicken leg thing.
Yeah.
And you are able to kind of pick up in that grade figure that it seems to have, like, hanging around its neck, some type of sometimes, you know, you can get the outline of what looks like it may be a chicken leg or something like that that's hanging from the neck.
Okay, interesting. So maybe there's some kind of a maybe I have some lore. Maybe I can. I imagine I have like a couple books that Diana has lent me from her library that I kind of keep, you know, kind of tucked in the back of my bookshelf. Like I probably have a small bookshelf. I don't think I read a whole lot, but I have like behind some of the, like, you know, novels. I think I'm really into like science fiction. You know, I think I've got like a lot of Heinlein and some L. Ron Hubbard are probably some of my favorites, actually. And like behind them, I like pulled out those old, you know, like they're all like old dog-eared paperbacks that I get for, you know, 99 cents each at the paperback bookstore. And behind them, I have, like, you know, a couple like kind of old leather-bound dusty tombs that Diana has lent me that actually have like some, you know, demon lore stuff. And I start like flipping through them, and I'm kind of like trying to figure out, like, okay, chicken legs, is that a thing?
Okay. So if you do that, why don't we do a lore roll for you? And your normal lore score is a 4. I like that description of the tomes that you have hidden behind everything, though. So I'm going to give you an extra bonus dice, a bonus die for this roll. So that'll give you 5.
Okay. I'm going to clear everything up here right now. If I can figure out, I there's all these buttons in for party dice roll, and I can never find the button I want.
Yeah, I'll clear it. I'll clear it for us.
Clear. There's the clear button. Did that do it? Okay, I think I found it. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think I love this roll for your party, but I think the UI could be a little bit better. All right, so I get 5 10-sided die. There we go. Well, I got a 10 and a 9. That's a good start.
Okay. And the opposing roll here is going to be, I'm going to say, a 3. Okay, so you get 1 success on this, and I think what you find out is, you know, you're picking up on this idea that this seems to be some type of kind of Haitian Caribbean folklore thing going on with this chicken leg, and that the chicken leg, a lot of times these charms are used as protection, but the way, you know, when you take a close look at the way that the kind of claws of this chicken leg are on these photos, when you get really close to them to really get a kind of good detailed look, one of these legs always seems to be bent really backwards, like it's kind of broken the bones in that particular finger of the of the leg. So it's kind of always, you know, instead of just a leg hanging down like this, there's always like one of those joints that's kind of really twisted back at a sharp angle. which is, maybe suggesting to you that this is not simply being used as protection, but is indicating some other, maybe more kind of aggressive purpose that would be behind this.
Yeah. So this is malevolent magic, not protective magic. Yeah. So I closed the book I've been researching in, and I put it back on my bookshelf, and I go over to Billy and I say, well, it looks like it looks to me like this chicken leg is some kind of a symbol of like a curse, I think it's meant as a threat. Like this is sort of an old superstition that so that that is could be taken as like some kind of a threat, like what's an example, like a voodoo doll sort of thing, right? So whoever sent you this photo is probably trying to freak you out.
Yeah, and when Billy hears this, you can see concern in his face, and he says, now the voodoo thing. I mean, I know my brother was, he was in Haiti, and our family was in Haiti and the Caribbean for a while, and we kind of had vague knowledge that there were still some kind of voodoo beliefs, but we always thought it was just kind of some kind of hokey touristy thing, right? That you kind of go there and buy things that had some voodoo background, but nobody took it seriously. But what about the account? Do you know anything about like who has sent this?
So I mean, and it just looks like a random jumble of numbers from like some, like is it like from a Gmail, or is it like from some like random server thing?
This is like just an Instagram account, and
it's an Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, and the Instagram account was started pretty recently. Like it's
is there anything else on it, or is it just these photos? Like someone started it just for these?
Correct. Yeah, that's all that's on there, and it's all just the same people, the same location, town, house. It's on the account.
All right. I say, well, I mean, if and you're saying that this is your family in the photos, so that's why you're so worried. I mean, wow, if they didn't have photos of your family, I'd say just block the account, but that's pretty fucked up that they've got photos of you. They're clearly trying to like threaten you. Damn, that's really messed up. I'm sorry about that. I mean, wow. Hold on a second. And I go over to Aaron with the phone and I say, hey, Aaron, this is really fucked up. Like someone's really trying to freak these people out. Could you take a look at this? I give him this look like, come on, you do that internet thing you do, where you mind meld with the internet.
Okay. So, Aaron will break off and kind of look at them and say, yeah, this looks kind of creepy. I see that chicken leg that you all were talking about. I see it on every single one. And he goes on to Instagram and kind of sees what you have seen before. And he says, I'll take a few minutes to look into this. And let's do a roll. I mean, he's going to use his perception ability on this. And his perception ability is a 7. And that gets added, right? Is that the way it works? Is the power gets added? Just double check here. Perception. User adds the demon's power to whatever score is being employed for the perception.
So I could use different scores than just like my lore or will. I mean, presumably I could. It would be lore or will depending on what I was trying to perceive.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was arcane or something less. What do you think this is? It feels like this could go either way. It's like the internet could be will, but if there's something like mystical about this internet, then maybe it's a lore as well.
Yeah, let's go with lore, but it's a different type of lore now, right? I mean, you were previously just kind of going on the kind of voodoo background stuff, whereas this is more kind of going into the, what is this Instagram account? What is going on in terms of how these photos have been put together. So we'll go with your lore plus your demon's power on this. So that's going to be a total of 11.
Okay. So I will clear and roll that. Oh. Wow! 3 10s and a 9 and an 8 and 2 7s. Yeah. And 3 6s. All right. Well.
Yeah, and the opposed roll, I'm gonna have a 5 for the.
Yeah, I'm never gonna get a better roll than that one. My lowest is a 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So you clearly have success
by 4. So that's like 4. Is that like a mega success? Do I get like bonus info or from something?
Now, if all of your dice are higher,
every one of them. Okay.
If every one of them, then it's called something like an extreme success. But what happens here is if there's like a subsequent action to this, you can roll those 4 victories into a subsequent.
Oh, they roll. That's
action.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So it would be a good idea for me to try and follow up on this somehow, because I'll get 4 bonus dice to whatever I do that follows up on this roll.
Yeah. So, and I guess what I will say is that Aaron and you are able to determine a couple things. You're able to determine that the photos, in fact, seem to have been doctored in some way or photoshopped to put this figure in there. Okay. That it seems to be like intentionally concocted to kind of put this figure in there, and with this chicken leg with the one joint pulled backwards, and you're also able, and Aaron, as he's kind of going in and researching the internet, he is able to connect it to an email address, and I mean, you can do a little research on that email address, and you get a name that's attached to it. You get a name that would be Blake Figueroa. Okay, so a Blake Figueroa is the name attached to this email address, and you're able to get a bead on the location, and the location is Atlanta. Okay, so Atlanta, Georgia is where this person is.
Okay, so not too far from here, right? It's like half a day's drive from here to Atlanta or something?
Right.
Okay. I don't know my way around the East Coast that well.
And okay. I would like keep that 4 victories in mind, because if you're, I don't think that the follow-up has to be immediate, but if there's something else that kind of gets set in motion that gets attached immediately to this to this event, you would get those 4 victory dice.
Okay, so maybe I should make a note that I've got like a hold, like 4 extra dice on something related to following up on this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like it could be worth following up on, though. Just kind of out of interest. I'll maybe yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. All right. It's probably I'm imagining it's getting, by the time I figure this out, it's maybe getting late, and maybe I'm kind of like, give that information. I think I like give the name. I'm like, oh yeah, look at this. We like, my buddy Aaron found this cool information. Here's, his name is Blake Figueroa, someone from Atlanta. I don't know if that means anything to you.
Yeah, and Billy, that doesn't seem to ring any bells with him, but he thanks you and says, maybe my brother knows something about who this is.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, that really sucks. I'm sorry that this person's bothering you. I hope this was able to help.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yeah. So he's very thankful, right? And he says, I'll let Chuck know that you were really spent some time on this, and I know that he's going to be very appreciative.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Say hey to Chuck for me.
Okay. Yeah, so let's fast forward then, and we'll go to 11 o'clock the next day, and we have this meeting at a Starbucks, and Dylan, is Belle coming with you to this meeting?
No, that would be very strange for a meeting with a music producer. Did she want to?
Well, I guess part of it would depend on what do you tell Belle about this?
So I told her everything, that this is like a new career opportunity and I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, so I mean, Belle, yeah, I don't know that Belle would normally, feel compelled to go to this type of a meeting, but she does seem very interested. And, Belle is like, what do you know about this Lily Pappas figure?
So I just tell her what I know. And I guess what I know is that she's a music producer of some sort, and that she's very involved in working with some musicians in the city, and that she has a Twitter verified account, so she's legit. And she likes me.
Yeah, and she was at the show last night. So okay, so yeah, Belle would say, yeah, this sounds like a great opportunity. Be sure to let me know what happens.
I feel like Dylan is kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop on that, but for now he just like nods, and then he just kind of like gets dressed and heads off.
Okay. Yeah, so you arrive at the Starbucks at 11 o'clock, and when you walk in, you see a woman who's been clearly kind of watching the front door. She immediately gets up and comes walking over to you and says, "Hi, my name's Lily Pappas. I already have a table for us. If you go in and put an order in, and we'll sit down and have a talk." Lily is she's seems to be around 30. She seems to be pretty athletic. She's dressed casually but very smartly. She has kind of designer jeans and wearing a t-shirt, but has this nice kind of leather blazer over the top of it, and wears her hair pulled back. And so, you can get your drink of choice at the Starbucks. She pays for it. And she starts to talk and says, I was at the show last night, but that's not the only show I've seen you at. And I've seen the kind of power that you have over the crowd when you perform. And I was interested in seeing whether you might want to have a little tryout with another band that I've been putting together.
Well, this is not quite what I was expecting. What other band?
Well, now it's not a punk band. Although, you know, we're trying to get something of a little punk vibe going. But I think you would describe it as kind of a kind of power pop band, but with getting a little bit more edgy to it. So, you know, so that, you know, something that would be kind of popular, but have that little bit of a punk edge going to it.
Do I know the band? What's their name?
Well, we don't have a name yet, but tonight we I've been kind of scouring the Central Florida area, and in fact, the Florida area for up and coming new musicians, and I'm kind of interested in pulling a new group together. And tonight there's this party going down at I have to get the name now. This is at the mansion of, I hope I have my name correct here. Oh, Stuart Barfield is the name of the guy whose mansion we're going to be at tonight. And this is just going to be a nice affair. But I have this group that we're going to pull together, and if you would like to kind of be the lead singer, we could try this out.
Yeah, I don't know if I can commit to anything long term right now, but I'd love to come just for a night and see how things shake out.
Yeah, and you know, you may be a little concerned as to like how you would fit in, but you know, I've taken note of some of the kind of songs that you've done, some of the covers that you've done, and so you know, I think that it would be something that you could kind of just kind of jump into. It'd be a pretty low pressure affair. Now, you know, Stuart Barfield, I don't know if you've heard his name before, but he's a big kind of behind the scenes producer, has been executive producer on a lot of things. And he's been especially involved recently in pulling together some of the deals with some of the theme parks. Like when a theme park wants to have some type of new attraction or ride or something that would have a crossover to some movie or something like that, where they have to work out some deal between a movie studio and the theme park. He's kind of involved with that. But there's a big show, not a big show, but a big party that's kind of getting pulled together. And, you know, I've been working with Stuart and with his assistant, Winifred Levain. And I've told them that, you know, I could put some entertainment together for them tonight.
Sure. It just seems like a pretty quick schedule, you know? Are we going to meet up for rehearsals before that? What's the set going to be?
Yeah, so the site is going to be at the mansion of Stuart Barfield. But yeah, we have the band is planning to get together this afternoon for a few hours to kind of work some things out. And you know, I've already told the other band members that hopefully you would be joining them, and so they've been kind of working on some of the songs that you're familiar with and that are part of your sets. So, and that, you know, they can also show you some new songs as well. And you know, in terms of like pressure on you though, this is, you know, low pressure, and we'll just kind of see how you click with the band and take it from there.
Yeah, this sounds great. I mean, I love working with other musicians. I think I'm really looking forward to this. Just like let me know where to show up for the rehearsal and stuff.
Okay. So, you know, she'll let you know all of that. She'll mention the names of some of the other band members. You know, there may be one or two names that you're kind of vaguely familiar with, being from the, you know, maybe run into them at a, you know, a show or something like that. So it seems to be kind of legit. I mean, she seems to be legitimately who she says she is, and she's kind of giving you some names that that you're familiar with. Okay. So with that set up, I mean, okay. And, you know, you could go do the rehearsal and, you know, all of that, you know, is kind of what you would expect it to be. And I guess I would want to know, you know, after this meeting, you get a call from Belle, and, you know, Belle, you know, has asked, you know, how's it going? You know, what happened at that meeting? What's the news?
Well, so she's not really interested in the Fisher Kings. She's trying to snag me for another band, and I told her I would go and play at this party in the evening. I'm thinking it's a good chance to get some of our songs out there, you know, and really get people to know more about me so that we can see if we can use this to prop up the Fisher Kings.
Yeah, that sounds great. So where is the party going to be at?
I tell her the location and the person.
She gets very excited. I mean, when you mentioned Stuart Barfield, right, as the site, you know, she recognizes that name and says, "This sounds terrific. Can I come?"
I'll have to ask Lily if I can bring a +1 since, you know, I'm just playing there. But yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Okay, and Lily would not have a problem with you bringing somebody else there. Just, you know, she'll ask for the name because there's going to be a guest list, and but she says, yeah, that's fine if you want to bring somebody with you to the party. And this then, I mean, we could then fast forward it to the evening if you wanted to. And so, you know, you meet with the band, you kind of work some things out, you know, you're a little rough around the edges, but, you know, the band it's a good band that she's put together, people who know the music and are also really good at kind of blending with each other, right? Making the adjustments that they need to. You get a sense that you know, musically, this is probably going to be pretty good.
Is it going to be better than my band?
Well, what I would say is, like, it would be hard to compare because this, you know, in terms of the genre, this is going in a much more pop direction than what you would typically be doing with your band.
Yeah, not to mention that we have Scott right now and he kind of sucks, so. But yeah, I see if I can like try to make sure that I sneak on a song dedicated to Corabantos onto the set list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they won't, I mean, everybody, you know, when you meet with the band, they're all really kind of, everybody is excited about this opportunity because, you know, you're all, in terms of your notoriety, I mean, you're coming from different areas, right? I mean, some of them are more kind of pop people. Some, you know, one of them is more of a kind of rock type person. But, you know, everybody thinks that this is a kind of interesting opportunity. And, you know, that they've, you know, a couple of them mentioned that they've, you know, found out that Lily Pappas can really open doors for people and things like that. And also, you know, they're excited about the venue because they're going to be, you know, Barfield will attract a kind of interesting crowd and people that are notable people, right? So that the chance to perform in front of that kind of a crowd is going to be a big opportunity for them. And Sean, this is also the party that you have been invited to.
Right. And this was in connection to, this was way back when I gave my interview. Well, I'm saying way back. That was what, like 5 days ago, probably, right?
Right.
And I'm blinking. Was it Winifred got a hold of me originally and
Yes.
said that she was really excited about the interview and invited me. Now, was the spin on that? I'm trying to remember. Was it about? It was about the cult, but was that also, were they interested in it because it was associated with the Perry Hatter World exhibit, or was that just about that they liked the cult posts in the interview?
Yeah, I think it had to do mostly, and you haven't met Winifred, but this was through email that she contacted you, and I think it really had to do with the fact that you had achieved a certain type of fame as a result of this interview, as a result of your blog, and that, right, she wanted to have some, the way she put it is that she wanted to have some young faces at the party among the guests. And, you know, it was kind of like, you know,
so was she implying that I'm like hip now? Like that would totally, like, because my character's definitely never thought of himself as hip. So if she's like implying that Sean is like the hip new thing now, Sean's just gonna be like, well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the big hip new thing, but that you would be somebody who would, you know, people might actually recognize who you were.
Okay.
Or if you mentioned, right, that, oh, you know, you're, you know, introduce yourself, but also kind of talk about, oh, the Eighth Laurel, that the Eighth Laurel is getting a little bit of a buzz, and that people would say, oh, there's that guy who runs the social media for them, and that it would be kind of interesting to have, you know, kind of like these. I mean, you're not really exactly a celebrity, but you know, you've at least you know, made a little bit of a splash, right?
Okay, nice. And as for running social media, like what I was imagining is that like the Eighth Laurel has its own website and probably their own Twitter account, and it's like, you know, it's pretty boring, like just regular posts and encouraging people to join and whatever. And I'm imagining like my blog post is like totally unofficial,
right?
And you know, and I think it's I think through Diana, it's got like their, you know, like they sanction it, like they're like they know what I do and they're good with it, but I'm in no way like an official representative, right? It's like, you know, it's kind of how I've been thinking about it. I have another question too. There was that the original post we'd established was when I was drawing these like, you know, connections between these really super popular Perry Hatter books and the teachings of the Eighth Laurel. And that was like the what exploded and then led to this interview, which exploded even more. And that was at Perry Hatter World. How much has that followed? Is it like I'm imagining I'm making like 2 different strains of blog posts. Like one are kind of my typical blog posts about, oh, the Eighth Laurel's great because of what it does. And I'm like continuing blog posts, like kind of following up on threads and developing this, you know, thesis, if you will, that, you know, Perry Hatter and the Eighth Laurel are like sending similar messages. Is there like traction more on one or the other? Like, was the Perry Hatter thing like a fluke, or does it seem like that's got legs and like I should be following that more? Like, are people really into that part of it?
Yeah,
like
I think what you do is you get a sense that that's the big hook right now is like the kind of tie-ins. Whenever you kind of make a tie-in with some aspect of kind of popular culture, the opening up of the new Perry Hatter world and that type of thing, that kind of sparks people's interest. But it
could be any popular culture, not just Perry Hatter, maybe.
Correct. I mean, you'll notice, like, if you ever drop like some other kind of pop culture reference, that seems to also kind of get interest, and that right from that, though, some people take another step and then start to investigate a little bit more what this whole Eighth Laurel organization is about.
Nice. Just to add one more little tie-in, I have one more question. So we established a few weeks ago. It was actually the session that Jenny couldn't make. That I was doing like a vlog post, kind of like following up the interview, like how excited I was, and that the Fisher Kings were playing downstairs at the time I was recording it. So they were like just kind of this like impromptu background music that happened to be on that vlog post. I'm wondering if like anyone who saw that vlog post has like mentioned that and like, you know, made a connection in the chat or something.
Yeah, you probably maybe would pick up a couple people who would kind of have heard that punk band, and like, you know, some people speculating like, what is that music behind there? Maybe, you know, one or two people can identify it as being the Fisher Kings.
Okay, nice. So there's probably like in the comments section, there's probably like a little thread on like, oh, the Fisher Kings, they're awesome or whatever.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Right.
All right, nice. Okay, so yeah, so I'm super excited. I think I even like you know what? I think that the day before, I'm gonna send Diana a little note and be like, look, I know this is really an unusual thing to ask, but I feel like I'm kind of nervous about this party. I feel like it's a big deal, and I feel like I should be well dressed, but I'm like, you know, just barely gonna make rent this month. So do you think you could like maybe since I'm become a little bit of a ambassador to the Eighth Laurel, maybe you could drop me a little money and I could go shopping and try and get like a new outfit today?
Yeah, and I think Diana would be open to that. I mean, I think, you know, when Diana hears about you being invited to this party and that it has something to do with your vlog posts and that, I mean, she thinks that this is a great opportunity. And so, yeah, she definitely is not going to stint on this, and says, yeah, that sounds terrific. And so what kind of an outfit do you put together to
it's going to be good and bad, right? It's going to be like it's going to be something that's kind of flashy, you know, and like, you know, I go to the I think maybe I actually even like take the whole day Saturday, like early in the morning, I like drive over to Miami, right? And I like go to some of the high-end shops, you know, and I can't afford most of what they have, but I like try and find something that I think is like super hip, but kind of like, you know, I want to look kind of like, you know, a little bit hot too. So I try and get like some club wear, but I think it ends up looking like just a little too over the top, right? Like I've got like the silk button-up shirt, right? And, you know, and like, you know, I don't, maybe like a, you know, like some kind of like a blazer that's, you know, like, I don't know, like got like some kind of weird styling on it, like a really narrow collar or something, you know, something that's like, I'm trying to be hip, but I don't know fashion, so it kind of misses by a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about Aaron? Is he going to go to the party with you?
That sounds like a good idea. Yeah. And I would imagine, I'm imagining Diana would be on board with that too, would probably, I'm imagining that like, while I like Aaron, that like in my mind, like this is mostly my success, and that feel free to give your own view on this, but I'm imagining that like Diana is kind of like puts pressure on me to be like, no, I really think you should take Aaron on that. No, I know you're a great blogger, but I really think you should keep letting Aaron, you know, read through your blog posts before you post them. Like I'm imagining Diana's like putting pressure on me to keep my connection with Aaron, you know, as firm as possible. And I'm kind of going along with it.
Yeah, and you know, Aaron would be very interested in going to the party, and you know, part of what Aaron says is like, yeah, this sounds amazing, and I love parties because you can get people to say and do the stupidest stuff when you go to these types of events, right? I mean, you see that he's clearly looking for this as an opportunity to satisfy his need. I mean, he's kind of wanting to go there and see whether you know, the two of you can kind of put one or two of the guests up to doing something really idiotic.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I think we get a little laugh about what we did with I'm blanking on her name right now, but the woman who did the interview.
Yeah, Sylvia, I think was her name.
Yeah. Yeah, we always get a chuckle about that. So we're like, yeah, let's do that again. That'll be fun. We've almost got this like routine going. We're like, yeah, that'll be good.
And
so we probably drive to Miami together and get like outfits together.
Right.
And I'm imagining that like Aaron like totally gets it right. Like Aaron actually does look really hip and really cool. And and Aaron's kind of looking at me while I'm picking out my clothes and it's like, that's what you want to wear.
Yeah. Yeah, because Aaron, being the internet junkie that he is, right? He has a kind of sense of style and fashion that he's put together. For Dylan, I feel like when you're at the rehearsal, Dylan, your outfit has already kind of been picked out for you. Right, that there's a kind of look that Lily is kind of going for, and so you get to the rehearsal studio, and it's a pretty nice studio that's been set up. It's like a professional kind of studio environment. And I would say, I'm trying to think of like. Well, Jenny, you can like contribute to this. Like, what kind of an outfit would a kind of power pop band with a little punk vibe? What would that look like in terms of what they would be wearing?
So I think like kind of casual, a lot of like form-fitting stuff, and like kind of simple, maybe with like a leather jacket or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like pop punk bands. The Killers, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the look.
Okay. But it does look like good stuff. I mean, it looks has maybe a slight grunge look, but it has that look where it's also kind of stylish, right?
Designer grunge.
Designer grunge, yes, is what. You all get there. We can just go on and fast forward to the evening then, and you all have the directions and. Dylan, I imagine you get there first because the band needs to set up. It's a really nice looking mansion. It is gated, right? It has this drive where you pull up and there's a kind of camera there with a microphone and speaker. And you pull up though, and you're on the list. They can see who you are, and you pull in, and there's it's a pretty nice size mansion. The weather is beautiful though, and so there's a backyard courtyard area, which is where the band is going to be. They have a little small little stage, elevated platform stage that is back there. You do run into, as you're starting to set up, you do run into, Lily Pappas is there. And so she's very excited and wanting to make sure that everything is set up appropriately. And also this woman named Winifred Levain comes over as well to introduce herself. Winifred is a she's like a assistant to Mr. Barfield. This is like towards the end of when you're setting this all up, and you're probably about a half hour or so away from when the guests are going to be arriving. So Winifred is all dressed up and in a kind of silver gown that looks stylish. She has this very, she's in her 40s. She's thin. She has a very kind of intense and alert look to her. And Uh, when you're setting up, what exactly would Belle be doing while the band is getting ready? You know, you're setting up, you're doing a little sound check, working through a few songs just to make sure everybody's comfortable. So what would Belle be doing?
So usually she would just be like kind of there at the sidelines, like being supportive and like probably like coming in to offer helpful suggestions. But this is a new setting for her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, she's in the area, and you know, Winifred comes up. She has a brief conversation off to the side with Lily, and then you know, Winifred approaches the stage and you know, just introduces herself. She says, "I'm Winifred Levain. I'm the assistant to Mr. Barfield. It's wonderful to have you all here tonight to provide some entertainment for us." And she shakes your hand. And it's a very quick little hello greeting thing, and she walks off. But when she leaves, Belle comes walking up to you and says, who exactly was that?
That was Winifred Levain, the assistant to Stuart Barfield.
That's interesting. I've never seen her before, but did she creep you out?
No. Why? Why?
Well, I can't quite pin it down, but I don't know. I'm getting a bad vibe from her. I love Lily. I mean, you know, she seems very professional, put together, but that person, I mean, just, you know, she unsettles me. I don't know exactly what it is about her, but there's something not right about that woman.
I mean, she's been like busy setting this whole thing up, so she's probably just a little frazzled. That's probably what you're picking up on.
Okay, I'll keep. You know, I think we should keep alert to her. There's something not right about that woman.
Sure. I mean, we can keep an eye on her, I guess. And I say that like trying to placate her, apparently not doing a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm really thinking is that it's good that like she's focusing her attention somewhere else. And it seems like we can really patch up this dysfunctional relationship. But I will not be keeping an eye out for Winifred. I got things to do.
Okay. And okay, and then you know the oh, hello, Alejandro.
Hello, sorry.
We are just to bring you up to speed of where we are. We're at the mansion of Mr. Barfield. This is the big event in the evening that all of you have in one way or another been invited to. Chuck is there as one of the security people at this event. I do have a question with Chuck. Would he bring his cat with him?
I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Of course. Yes. His cat. Yeah. His cat would just go. He wouldn't bring his cat. His cat would just go.
And you know, when Chuck gets there, you know, you know, somebody would be there to kind of tell you, you know, show you the layout of the place. There would be there's going to be another person who you don't know who was also there to be kind of on the security detail. Where would the cat hang out? I mean, would the cat try to sneak into the party, or would it just you know, be kind of lingering on the outside of the mansion somewhere?
It would stay near me, and it would try to just be unobserved and hidden. It not so much sneaking, but just kind of it would just like always be perched somewhere, like high and out of the way and secluded.
Okay. So yeah, your character would get there before the party is rolling as well, so that you know have a sense of the layout of this situation. You also meet this woman named Winifred Levain, and she's gotten herself all ready for the party, and you make she makes a quick hello to you, introduces herself as the assistant to Mr. Barfield. Very happy that you could be here to provide security. And when she leaves, your demon does get your attention, and your demon is picking up something unsettling about Winifred. It's kind of similar to I mean, you were not privy to the conversation that Dylan had with Belle, but it's similar to right that your demon saw Winifred and is not really able to pinpoint what it is, but that there is something about this assistant to Mr. Barfield that just does not seem right.
Okay. I'm given the lay of the land, like a tour. Like that's probably initially one of the first things they do is they give us like a little tour. Does my cat lets me know this after they leave?
After Winifred. Yeah, I mean, after Winifred has just come out, made a very quick appearance to you, just said, thank you for coming. You know, she's this woman in her 40s. She's thin. She's kind of dressed up for the event. And then kind of is going off to attend to other things in terms of the setup of the party.
As a when we're first doing our tour, I would just normally be on the lookout for anything supernaturally weird or strange. But then after they leave, I will take another tour around and actually like look for evidence of devilry.
Okay. So with that, let me go on and get you to make a roll. And this is going to be a lore roll for you. You also, if you so desire, I think we could add some perception from Papa Guyan to this.
Absolutely.
So that would give you you have a 4 lore, and then the power of Papa Guyan would bring you up to a 10. Let me make sure I'm going to drop this again into our box so you can pick it up. You have a roll for your party in there.
Yeah.
In the chat box now. I'm going to go on and clear this. We found out that with so many dice getting rolled, it's best to just go on and clear it. So let me clear that. So you can roll those dice. Oh, you're going to roll 10-sided dice.
Yeah, I forgot. Good, because I got a lot of stuff below 6 there. So
I'm not seeing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty sweet roll. And I'm going to roll 5. Okay, so you have 1 victory, so a success. I would say that as you're kind of on the alert, Barfield in this mansion has kind of bizarre taste in artwork. It kind of bends to the morbid side, and you're able to pick up that he'll have kind of these multimedia pieces that would have a combination of painting but objects also placed in them. Some of them feature like bones and things like that. And with some of those art pieces, like some of the ones that feature bones, you're actually able to pick up, it looks like they're actual real bones. And some of them actually look like human bones that are part of the art pieces that are up. And, that there definitely seems to be something kind of unnatural about some of those art pieces. I would say that the other thing that you pick up on is that the mansion throughout it seems to have a lot in the way of cameras, like surveillance cameras that are set up. So that, most rooms have some type of surveillance camera coverage. Now, you haven't been, when they were doing the layout of this, the surveillance stuff was not mentioned. And you don't know what room would house the actual monitors that would be hooked up to the cameras. But that seems a little odd to you.
Okay. So I will, because obviously I went back and did a, so whoever's watching saw me do this. So I will go back and find the lady and say, I took another tour around. I wanted to really acclimate myself to the environment, and there are a lot of surveillance cameras. I would need access to that, the observation room, so that, I mean, that's gonna totally, that's exactly what my job entails and what I need.
Okay, and you're saying this to Winifred?
Yeah, to the lady, yeah.
Yeah, to the assistant. Okay, so you say this to Winifred, and she seems very busy, and she says, "Well, we don't really need you to do any monitoring of the surveillance cameras. Here is, what we specifically need you to do is we want you to be alert to the guests. And if anybody seems to, we don't expect this, but if anybody seems to be getting rowdy, to kind of handle them. If anybody is getting too drunk and kind of making a fool of themselves, if you would kind of help to kind of get them escorted and get them, to an area where they're not continuing to make a fool of themselves. We need that. And, if anybody is showing up here who we determine doesn't really belong, we have somebody at the door, and they'll be kind of seeing everybody through the gate. We have the guest list, but, Mr. Barfield is an important person, and we know that sometimes, paparazzi try to sneak in or that type of thing. And if we have that kind of a situation, and we alert you to it, we would want you to be able to take care of that kind of a situation. The surveillance cameras, that's really not anything that you need to concern yourself about.
Okay. I take my leave of her. Is there spots that I figured out I could stand that would keep me off the cameras?
Yeah, I think if you're scoping it out, you would be able to find some kind of blind areas where somebody could be.
Okay. I talk to my cat. I go to one of the spots and I let my cat know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
To Papagayan, I let him know what's going on, and I ask him to see if he can find the room, the surveillance room.
Okay. So yeah, Papagayan will head off to sneak around a little bit to see what he might be able to find out. And let's then bring let's bring Sean into this. And you arrive a little bit later.
And I'm just invited as a guest. I don't have any like responsibilities. I'm just there to
Correct.
hobnob and network and whatnot. Okay.
Right. So, you arrive, there's the gated front. You can give your name, your everything, they see who you are. They see that you're on the guest list, and they take you in. And, when you arrive, they have valet service, and, they'll park your car for you. And when you walk up to go into the mansion, it's a kind of Spanish style mansion. It's kind of common to Central Florida. It's a very nice, well manicured landscaping. And
oh, just to pause you for a moment. I just want to play back that scene where I pull up in my car and it's like a 1990s Ford Taurus that's kind of rusted out because it's been here in Florida too long. It's like all rusty at the bottom and everything, and it's kind of the engines kind of makes this like sputtering sound a little bit every once in a while when I accelerate. So I'm like pulling in, I'm imagining with all these super nice cars and, handing the keys off to the valet.
Right. Right. And then you would notice that like the other guests who've just arrived, kind of are, your presence is known because of the sound that your car makes, right? And they kind of see you coming out of the car, and just puzzled, like who is this person who has just kind of pulled up in this kind of jalopy, right? Yeah, should have asked Diana for a car too. I don't know. But you are on the official guest list, so nobody, the people who are kind of checking things out are going to, let you in. And when you walk up to the front door, there is this thin woman wearing a nice gown, evening gown, and she's kind of greeting all of the guests. And when you arrive to her, she introduces herself, holds out her hand, and says, "Hi, my name's Winifred Levain, and you're Sean, aren't you?"
Yes, I am, Winifred. It's great to finally meet you face to face. Thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate it. This is my friend Aaron.
Okay, and when you turn to introduce Aaron, Aaron is not there.
I'm like, huh. Well, my friend Aaron must have gone, I don't know, take a walk right out front. But I have a friend here with me. He's I think I send you his name for the guest list.
Yeah, that sounds good. And if I couldn't meet him now, maybe I'll run into him later on in the evening, and you can introduce me then.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So when you walk in, Aaron is there. He's kind of out of sight behind behind the wall where Winifred couldn't see him, and he looks a little concerned.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going? You just kind of disappeared for a minute there. I didn't even notice you were gone.
yeah, that woman there, she, I don't know exactly what it is, but she's doesn't seem right, does she? I mean, did she seem okay to you?
I mean, she seems very nice. I mean, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I mean, I, I thought she was very nice. She's kind of attractive too, to be honest.
Well, yeah, she seems like somebody who somehow seems on the edge to me. And I can't quite pinpoint what it is, but she spooks me, which is hard. Normally I'm not spooked so easily, but she does seem a little off to me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm all right. Thanks for letting me know. I guess I'll keep a closer eye on her then. So is that why you disappeared? Were you like trying to avoid her?
Well, I think that there are other people that I'll enjoy more at this event than her.
All right. Okay, cool. Well, she did invite me. So at some point, I feel like I should probably chat with her a little bit, just to keep the wheels greased, right? Do some of the networking action. But I can handle that on my own if you don't want to be around when I'm chatting with her.
Okay. And let's say that when this happened, Chuck, you would be hanging around, watching as the guests are coming in, and you would have maybe picked up on, okay, everybody's greeting Winifred, but you did see, this one person duck in, deliberately avoiding the kind of entry line, and not shaking Winifred's hand, which is kind of like it's not really a security thing per se, but certainly was kind of the normal protocol. Like there was this one guy who seemed kind of nervous about the guest line making their way in, and had kind of slyly kind of slid off to the side, and now his friend is talking with him. And I think what we might want to do is, your cat is also been in the area, right? You said he's just kind of hanging around off to the side. Let's let us.
He was doing reconnaissance.
Oh, right.
Surveillance.
Right.
But he might have. I mean, I don't know if at this point he was there or not. That's up to you.
Yeah. Because I think at some point we want to see, because right now, none of you really know that each other are sorcerers, correct? But the demons may be able to, being in kind of close proximity to each other. I think at some point there should be rolls to see whether the demons are able to kind of pick up on the fact that, oh, they're kind of in close proximity to another demon. So let's go on and do at least one of those rolls. And yeah, let's say that Papa Guyan has kind of is walking around trying to kind of get an assessment of like where there might be some type of surveillance room. And I think the way that this would work is Aaron would be rolling with, let me get Aaron here. Let me just get the rules, but I think it's going to end up being like the cloak or cover ability gets to roll with power yeah, dice equivalent to the demon's power. So with Aaron, that's going to give him a 7. And that would be rolled against, I think, your demon's. Yeah, so your demon's power is a 6. So let's do that. If Alejandro, if you want to roll 6 dice, and then we'll let Walter roll 7.
So I rolled those 6 right there.
Yeah.
Is the idea that like, so we're rolling opposed rolls, but this is to see if our demons detect one or the other?
Yes. Yeah.
Is the idea that one is going to detect the other first?
Yes. And I'm thinking that since Alejandro's demon is kind of on surveillance duty, he would probably be more likely to pick up. And so you succeeded, correct? I mean, the perception was not successful. That Walter, you rolled a 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that, at least initially. So we'll just put the party into motion at this point. And I'm thinking that this may be a good time to break it for today. And you know, we have the party getting set up. We have your demons don't know each other yet. You don't know that each other are sorcerers. Your demons have all picked up on something about this Winifred Levane character that seems to be, for whatever reason, she just seems to be on edge for these demons and doesn't seem to be what she appears to be. That there's something unsettling about her that is turning them off.
Robbie, just for like to help you think about how we're breaking it, and we'll pick it up next time. I'm not going to be able to make it next week.
Okay.
So which is fine with me. I mean, I'm fine with, like, if next week you want to, we could just kind of say that my character, generic, you know, networking, and you could play things out for Dylan and Chuck. That would be cool too.
Okay.
Just letting you know. Yeah.
So yeah, that would be fine with me. And then, you know, then the following week we could do maybe a quick little catch up for you, and we could still then establish something that had happened to you at the party. Okay. Cool. But Jenny and Alejandro, you'll be back next week, same time.
Yes, I will be.
Okay.
I intend to be also, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we will probably find out what exactly might be going on with Winifred, and I guess the other thing that may be obvious to point out is that it's at Mr. Barfield's mansion, but Mr. Barfield, at least at this point, has not made an appearance yet. So you know, we might find out what is going on with that as well.
Excellent.
I mean, Mr. Barfield is, I imagine him as kind of like a modern, a kind of contemporary day Howard Hughes figure, right? He's very wealthy, seems to be very powerful, have a lot of high level connections, but you know, you hear his name in the paper, you don't really get pictures of him or anything like that. And he seems to be, even though he has his hands in a lot of things, he also seems to be, in terms of the public, rather reclusive. Okay, and then why don't we go around quickly and we can kind of do a quick stars and wishes. And I know, Alejandro, we'll maybe end up with you because you were just in here for a short period of time. But if you want to talk about things that you're liking about the game, as well as anything that you're hoping for next session or down the road, you can tell me what that is and I'll take some notes. So Walter, why don't we start with you?
Okay, yeah. So we're doing stars and wishes. So should I do them both now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Well, I'm glad Alejandro was able to join us at the end. It's definitely awesome when all three of us are here. Let's see. I like that our stories are kind of like threading along in parallel with each other, and we haven't quite like. I mean, so so Alejandro, you before you were here, there was a we had a scene with Billy, your brother, coming up and talking with Sean for a little while, and I'll let I'm happy to let Robbie catch you up on that. But just in reference to that and other things, I like how our stories are kind of like weaving along close to each other, but not quite like entangling tightly. Like, you know, we're like, you know, constantly like brushing against each other, but we still have our separate streams. I think that's cool. Yeah, I like that we're playing enough now that each of our characters is like really starting to develop, you know, like a lot of depth, and our relationships with each of our demons is starting to develop some depth. So I'd say those are my stars. Wishes. I feel like we're building tension slowly, which is good, but I also feel like sometime, certainly by the next time I play again, it'd be nice if like if we had like another, I don't know, like something interesting happen, right? Like you know, I feel like it'd be good if the shit hit the fan in some capacity soon, just to stir things up some. That would be my wish.
Okay. And Jenny?
Yeah, so my stars are, well, first of all, that fantastically creepy chicken leg. I mean, in general, I like how we've been working on building tension, and how even though like a lot of what's happening is just like people going through their ordinary lives plus little chicken legs, it feels like very tense, and also like it really shows that you really shouldn't become a sorcerer. It just messes up your life. And I'm really liking Winifred and whatever's going on with her. As far as my wishes, I think I'm really looking forward to seeing the demons meet in particular, because I don't really know how demons get along with each other or don't get along with each other in this world. And I'm also looking forward to having our characters meet and like seeing what's exactly going on at this totally safe, totally non-creepy party where 3 sorcerers just coincidentally showed up.
Okay. And Walter, I was going to ask you, because one thing I could incorporate in our next session, if you could like think about and maybe message me with, you know, your demon wants to do something to get a guest or a group of guests to do something really stupid, right? I mean, this is his need. So if you could maybe think about that, and later today or sometime this week, just say, oh, this is like what we would try to do at the party, you know, like what, you know, it seems like there are lots of possibilities as to what your demon might be looking to do.
This might be a bit too much foreshadowing, but you mentioned paparazzi, and that, you know, it sounds like that's on the table for something that could happen for Chuck next session. I'm imagining that like if paparazzi did show their face, like Aaron would be like, hey Sean, we gotta get in this photo, we gotta photobomb this, right? And so something along those lines.
Okay. And then Alejandro, how about any stars and wishes that you have?
My stars are that you guys asked me to come in. Thank you. Appreciate that at the last minute. And my wishes is that I can make it on time next time.
Yeah. And I am one thing that we haven't done yet, and it's I'm going to kind of do extra reading up on the conflict resolution in terms of physical conflict. But Alejandro, just to prep you, I think it's this is a kind of party where paparazzi or people might be appearing and they might not be actually leaving. So you may be kind of getting yourself ready. Your character, Chuck, may be called upon to actually do some physical tussling with paparazzi or uninvited guests next time.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. I had, I do think things are building up. Yeah, there will be some shit hitting the fan, I think, next week in terms of what goes on at the party. And so I think it'll run fine with Dylan and Chuck there, and then we can bring Sean into it. But we'll probably it will feature probably something that Sean and his demon get up to next time in terms of photobombing some paparazzi and getting something sparked with that. But there definitely are other things that will be going on at the mansion next week. Okay, and and I shared that what's called a one sheet. But if you want, I might add a few things to it. Feel free to add anything to that. And I might also just add some things there just as reminders of events that have been happening and character development that has been happening, as well as other non-player characters that are involved. I might put some pictures up of Winifred or, the mysterious Mr. Barfield and those types of things on that one sheet.
Nice.
Okay. Well, y'all have a good week, and I'll see you next Saturday morning.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.